araw. I'm Sir Richard, and welcome to the first video of the topic rational functions, equations, and inequalities. So this is the second week of the subject General Mathematics or GenMath of grade 11. So our first or lesson 1 is understanding rational functions. So our objective is to represent real life situations using rational functions. So for the definition, rational function is a function that is a fraction and has the property that both its numerator and denominator are polynomials. In other words, if f of x is a function, then f of x is equal to p of x divided by q of x, where p of x and q of x are polynomials. So we will try to have a recap on what is a polynomial before we proceed with the rational function. It is assumed that both p of x and q of x are simplified, no common factor, and q of x is not equal to 0. So any number divided by 0, so for example, 1 divided by 0 is undefined. Yan. Okay, so for the review, polynomials are algebraic expressions that consist of variables and coefficients. So we have here an example of polynomials. Coefficient ang tawag dito sa mga number na katabi ng variables. These are the variables. We have here the exponent, and we also have the constant. We also have the operators. Okay, so three types of polynomials. We have monomial or one term. So pwedeng 5x lang, 3 lang, 6a to the fourth, or negative 3xy. Binomial naman, we have two terms. So negative 5x plus 3, 6a to the fourth plus 17x, xy squared plus xy. And finally, trinomial. So three terms naman na meron tayo dito. So isa, dalawa, and tatlo. So that is a recap of the polynomial. Another idea. So how can you identify if an equation is a polynomial or not? So we have here 3x y raised to negative 2. Hindi daw siya kasi bawal ang negative 2. Dapat ang exponent natin is 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. By the way, if it's 0, kanina mayroon tayo nakita sa monomial 3 lang. So assuming that ang variable is x, kapag any number raised to 0, so x raised to 0 is actually 1, kaya 3 times 1, so technically, may variable siya, pwedeng na naka-raise to 0, kaya 3. Another is 2 over x plus 2. Bawal daw, kasi dapat dividing by a variable is not allowed. 1 over x is not either. Square root of x is not because exponent is 1/2. Okay. By the way, so x raised to a over b. Yan, square root of x, paano siya naging exponent na 1/2? It can also be written as, ito yung b, then x raised to a. Since dito, square root of x is actually raised to 1. Square root, hindi na sinusulat yung 2. Kaya ang nakasulat lang dito is square root of x. So, kapag kinonvert ko itong exponent, that becomes x raised to 1/2. Just a recap. So, these are allowed. X divided by 2 is allowed kasi pwede tayo mag-divide by constant. Actually, pwede namang magbabago lang yung coefficient pag ganun yung nangyari. So, 3x over 8, same idea. Square root of 2 is allowed because it is a constant. Square root of 2 plus x, yun yung bawal doon. Okay, so following our examples ng rational function, f of x is equal to 1 over x. Sabi kanina, 1 over x is not a polynomial, but 1 and x can be treated as polynomials, kaya 1 over x. Ang sabi doon is, rational function is may ratio or fraction. Yan. So, meron tayong numerator and denominator. Numerator and denominator. So, g of x is x minus 1 all over x plus 3. x of x is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 4 all over x minus 5. So these are the examples of rational functions. Since ang target natin is to represent real life situations, ito na yung pupunta natin yan. The local government, example, the local government unit allotted a budget of 100,000 pesos for the feeding program in the daycare center. The amount will be divided equally to all the pupils in the daycare center. Write an equation showing the relationship of the allotted amount per pupil represented by f of x versus the total number of children represented by x. So, assuming given na yung table, kasi pwede naman tayo magbago ng values dito eh. 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, pwedeng 100 na yung start, 1, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Okay lang yan kasi magbabari ang value ni X. So, ang allotted na pera is 10,000 kasi nga yung 100,000 kapag dinivide natin sa 10, that will become 10,000. 100,000 pag dinivide natin sa 20, that will become 5,000. So, nagbabari yung X natin. Kaya gagamitin natin doon is X variable. Kaya anong pwede natin gawin? We can use f of x is equal to 100,000 divided by x. Ito na yung mathematical model natin. Okay, next. So suppose a benefactor wants to supplement the budget allotted for each child by donating 650 per child. So related pa rin to dun sa una nating question. Pero this time, he will add up 650 pesos for each child. Kung ilan man yung bata, regardless, he will be using plus 650 or automatically he will add 650. So, number of children, assuming we have 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, ganun pa rin. So, kapag 10, ang makukuha niya is 10,000 plus 650. Pag 20, 5,000 plus 650. Pag 50, 2,000 plus 650. Pag 100, 1,000 plus 650. So, automatic si plus 650. Kaya dito, ang function natin is 100,000 divided by x plus 650. Example number 3. A car is to travel a distance of 70 kilometers. Express the velocity as a function of travel time in hours. So, in terms of velocity, ang definition natin or ang formula natin is d over t. So, distance, yung d, time, yung t per hour. So, we will be using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Example lang naman to. So, either it is already defined kung ano yung gagamitin natin sa h or sa hours or sa time rather. Or, kayo na yung gagawa, which is kahit, okay lang naman kahit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ang ilagay niyo. So, let us first show the relationship using a table. Remember that the time increases in the traveling of the velocity or the speed of a car will decrease. Okay, so the distance divided by the time, assuming ang 70 kilometers yung distance natin. So, bakit niya nasabi na pag lumalaki yung time, lumiliit yung speed ng car? So, ibig sabihin, 1 hour, kinuha niya lang, yung 70 kilometers, kinuha niya in 1 hour. Kung yung 70 kilometers, kinuha niya ng 2 hours, mas mabagal siya. Siyempre, kung yung 70 kilometers, kinuha niya ng 10 hours, mabagal siya kumpara doon sa 1 hour lang. Okay, so, check natin. Ang function natin is velocity in terms of time is equals to 70 in yung distance all over t. Kaya, 70 divided by 1 is 70, 70 divided by 2 is 35, and so on. Number 4, last example. In an inter-barangay basketball league, the teams from Barangay Burianas won 12 out of 25 games. A winning percentage of 48%. So, if you will try to check 12 divided by 25, it is said 48% yung kalalabasan. Try ninyo sa calculator ninyo kung tama. We have seen that they need to win 8 more consecutively to raise their percentage to at least 60%. Sabi dito, kailangan nila manalo ng 8 more. Ibig sabihin, kapag nag-add ako ng 8 sa taas, 12 plus 8, mag-a-add din ako ng 8 sa baba. Consecutive wins. Pag natalo sila, automatic add pa rin ng add yung nasa ilalim. So, piece of x, yung percentage ng winning is 12 divided by 8, 12 plus 8 all over 25 plus 8. So, this is 20 divided by 33. So, check your calculator kung tama ang lalabas na 0.60 or malapit sa 0.60. Rather, hindi siya eksaktong 0.60. So, 20 divided by 33 is equals to 0.60, then may bar sa taas. Okay. So, that's it. Watch out for the second video. Thank you. Magandang araw. I'm Sir Richard and welcome to the second video of the topic rational functions, equations, and rational inequalities. So this is the still the second week of the subject Gen Math or General Mathematics of the grade 11. So our topic is to distinguish this time what is a rational function or which one is the rational function, the rational equation, and the rational inequality. So for the definition, rational expression can be described as a ratio or quotient of two polynomials. Meron tayong fraction. So let us look at the examples. Consider the following algebraic expressions. Determine whether they are rational or not. So, check natin. Number one is a rational expression. Since ratio siya ng two polynomials. Yan. Number two is still a rational expression. Polynomials pa rin. Number three is not. Kasi meron tayong radical sign doon. And number four is another rational expression kasi possibly ang denominator nito is 1. Next. How about rational equation, inequality, and a function? So kapag rational equation, an equation involving a rational function. So rational function siya and rational function siya. Rational expression siya and another rational expression. Kaya rational equation ang tawag doon. Rational inequality is the idea of using the logical signs less than, greater than, equal, or less than equal. So this one is greater than. Greater than, less than. Ang tinatawag na less than equal is pwedeng mas mababa or equal to sa value. And we also have greater than equal. And finally, rational function, sinabi nga kanina, na dapat p of x over q of x or technically dalawang polynomial. Then may f of x sa unahan. So, let's try to check kung rational function ba siya, equation ba siya, or inequality ba siya. So, in the first part, this is, since walang f of x, rational equation lang siya, or rational expression, rational equation. Number one is rational expression or rational equation. Number two is rational function kasi may f of x tayo at polynomial to pareho. Number three is another rational equation. Rational equation. Then ito is rational expression. Number four, since we are using less than sign at polynomials naman sila ron, kaya rational inequality yan. Number five is another rational function. F of x is also y. And finally, meron tayong radical sign sa taas. We cannot consider that as polynomial, kaya hindi siya kasama dun sa apat. And so, thank you. Watch out for the last video.